Welcome back to the Explainer. Today, we're taking the total mystery out of how things grow, and we're turning it into a math tool you can completely master. We're also looking at this really fascinating intersection between everyday mathematical principles and the foundational philosophy of the heroesmartacademy Godly Learner series. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a real-world question I bet you've actually asked yourself. Imagine a crazy viral video hits the internet, and you think, man, how many people are going to see this in 3 days? Or, maybe you've wondered how fast your morning coffee loses its heat, or how long a specific medicine actually stays active in your system. These aren't just random, wild guesses. They're actually driven by very specific, highly identifiable patterns.
And making sense of those patterns? Well, that's really all about finding clarity. The source material draws a pretty incredible parallel here with the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2, which says, "Write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it." The curriculum makes the argument that just as divine revelation is made plain to believers, math formulas do the exact same thing for the physical world. They literally take the chaotic, invisible rules of nature and make them plain on tablets so we can figure them out, run with them, and basically predict the future.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The power of forecasting. 2. Cracking the exponential formula. 3. Real-world growth and decay. 4. Test your knowledge. And 5. Education, morality, and peace.
Section 1. The power of forecasting. Using math to predict the future. When you really look closely at the world, you start seeing these patterns everywhere. We're talking bacteria multiplying in a petri dish, online followers absolutely skyrocketing after a viral post, or temperatures just plummeting on a freezing winter night. When things change that rapidly, you need a rock-solid model to describe it. Writing exponential functions lets us calculate and analyze all these wild scenarios. It literally gives us the power to forecast.
Section 2. Cracking the exponential formula. From mystery to mastery.
Now, what's super interesting about this is how we actually crack the code of that real-world change using one single elegant formula. This equation right here, y equals a times b to the power of x, is your ultimate forecasting tool. Now, I know it might look like alphabet soup at first glance, but every single letter has a very specific, powerful job. That little x at the top, that represents the number of time intervals. It could be hours, days, months, or years, just depending on what you're measuring. And the y is your final result, your answer to the big question of what happens next.
But the real magic, the core of the formula, happens with a and b. Think of a as your solid starting line. It's the initial value, the exact amount you begin with before anything changes at all. Meanwhile, b is your engine of change. That b dictates exactly how fast things are moving, multiplying, or shrinking over each of those time intervals. To build your very own exponential function from any real-world scenario, you just need to ask yourself 2 simple step-by-step questions. Step 1, what is the starting amount? Find that and boom, you've found your A. Step 2, how is it changing? Like, what are you multiplying by every single time? Figure that out and you've got your B. Once you have those 2 numbers, you just plug them straight into the formula and you've essentially captured reality in a math equation.
Section 3. Real-world growth and decay. Seeing the math in action.
This brilliantly illustrates just how versatile this tool really is. Our engine of change, that b value, can actually go in 2 completely different directions. It can multiply your numbers massively, which is exponential growth, like doubling or tripling, or it can shrink them down steadily over time, and that's exponential decay, like a substance losing 25% of its mass. The formula handles both of these beautifully. It all just depends on the size of that b engine.
Let's look at a quick example. Example 1, doubling followers. Say you start with exactly 50 social media followers. That's your starting line, right? So your A is 50. Now, imagine your audience absolutely loves your content, and your follower count doubles every single day. Because it's doubling, you multiply by 2 each day. So your engine of change, B, is 2. Plugging 50 in for A and 2 in for B gives you the perfect forecasting formula. Y equals 50 times 2 to the power of x. Want to know how many followers you'll have in 10 days? Just make x equal 10.
On the flip side, let's look at example 2. Say 80 grams of a chemical substance decays by losing 25% of its mass daily. We really have to think carefully about our engine of change here. The starting amount, A, is easy. It's 80. But if you lose 25%, what are you actually keeping? You're keeping 75% of it every day. Therefore, you're multiplying the remaining amount by 0.75 each time. So your B is 0.75. Your formula becomes y equals 80 times 0.75 to the power of x.
Or consider a biological scenario in example 3.
An infection starts with just 10 cases. Your A is 10. But this particular disease is highly contagious and infects 3 times more people each hour. It's tripling. So your B engine is 3. That makes your forecasting formula y equals 10 times 3 to the power of x. Within just a few hours, that number absolutely explodes, which, is exactly why exponential growth is so critical for scientists to understand.
Section 4. Test your knowledge. Your turn to build formulas.
Okay, now it's time to put your own skills to the test. Go ahead and pause the explainer right now so you can work through these 5 homework scenarios. For each one, figure out your A and your B. For example, the candle starting at 100 grams is your A, and losing 20% means you retain 80%, making your B 0.80. Check out the bank account growing, the website users tripling, the car's value dropping, and the concert attendance doubling. Honestly, building these formulas yourself is where the knowledge truly locks in.
Section 5. Education, Morality, and Peace. The HeroesmartAcademy Philosophy. So, we've talked a lot about how mathematical rules govern the physical world, but the source material from the HeroesmartAcademy Godly Learners series introduces a much broader philosophy here. The series teaches that just as there are absolute rules in math that we have to follow to get the right answer, there are absolute truths in our spiritual lives too. They point directly to Romans chapter 8, verses 6 through 7, which they interpret as a promise of true peace of mind to everyone who stays spiritually grounded. It's a really interesting reminder that mastering equations is only one half of the human experience.
The Academy's philosophy argues that education without morality ultimately hurts us. Their curriculum poses a pretty challenging thought. What is the absolute point of being mathematically brilliant or being perfectly educated in how the world works if you completely lack a moral compass? They believe that aligning your intellect with a solid spiritual foundation is what brings actual peace. And that leaves us with a critical question drawn straight from their teachings to carry forward today. As you continue to grow your intellect exponentially, what exactly are you using as your moral engine of change?